Do you want to get rich? Do you want to be wealthy beyond your wildest dreams? Do you want to have more money than most people? Well, I'll tell you the secret to wealth. It's getting a full-time job. You know, if you worked for one of the major tech companies in the United States, you could pull in $250,000 a year, $350,000 a year in salary pretty easily. Whether you're a developer, a project manager, or even a high-ticket salesperson for one of these corporations. So why don't you go do it? Well, in today's video, I wanted to talk about the entrepreneur mindset versus the employee mindset. Because if it's just about money, if you just want to become an entrepreneur to make money, there are a lot easier ways to make money. For instance, everything that I just said, you could just get a full-time job, work your way up the ladder at somebody else's company. In fact, the bigger the company, the better. They have the salary to pay you, and you could pocket some cash. But there's a reason why you're not doing that. There's a reason why I don't do that. And that reason is that we have the entrepreneur mindset. At least for me. I value time freedom and location freedom more than working in an office. I used to work in an office. Last office job I had, I've only had 2 office jobs in my entire life. Last office job I had, we had to commute in at 9 a.m. I remember the train ride in from Brooklyn to Wall Street. It was about 20 minutes long, and that was kind of annoying. Then we had to work all day. I would do all my work in about 15 minutes in the morning, and then had to just kind of sit there and be busy the rest of the day. And then you go home at night, and it's 5, 6 p.m., or you go out to drinks with everybody else. By the time you get home, you have no urge to work on your own projects. No YouTube videos got filmed during that time. It's very draining. So that's what it is for me. For you, you might be more of an employee. And I think you can have the entrepreneur mindset and still work for another business inside of a corporation. That doesn't mean you're a solo dog. In fact, at Taplio, we have 2 co-founders plus Robert. We have 3 co-founders. At Lead Shark, it's me and Robert. All the people on our team kind of are entrepreneurs with full-time freedom. They live wherever they want. They do whatever they want. So you can have it outside of a normal 9-to-5 job. But I want you to be clear on whether you have that employee mindset or that entrepreneur mindset. Because if you're just in this to make money, if you're just in the business entrepreneurship world to make money, there are so many easier ways to make money. You know, go be a lawyer, go be a doctor. I would say the chances of you becoming a successful doctor are higher than the chances of you becoming a successful entrepreneur. Put in the work. If there's actually a career path, you might actually get hired. So if that's what you want to do, if that's just, what you're into, money, then go do that. The reason why I do this, the reason why I have this entrepreneur mindset is because I really like building stuff. When we created Taplio, it was cool to go through the creation process of building this LinkedIn AI, working with developers, getting inspired by Thibaut, one of our co-founders, watching how quick he worked. Exploring how Tom, the other co-founder, did business and product and how he thought about it. Because the 2 founders there, Tom and Thibaut, that me and Robert partnered with, were coming off the success of another major startup called Tweet Hunter. And Tweet Hunter was growing rapidly, and then this was their next project. So we were able to plug in and learn so much just from that. So that's the entrepreneur mindset. It's more like a scientific mindset, like an exploring mindset. Because I like watching things go from that little seed up to hundreds, thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of users. And it's just cool watching all those decisions come together. It's like an engineer would tinker on something in his garage, build a little machine. I see it more like inventing than like business, like working a job. So entrepreneurs versus the 9-to-5, it's not even the same world. And it's something that you need to decide. Do you want to go work in a 9-to-5, be a cog in the machine, do work that may or may not matter, which includes a lot of busy work, a lot of making copies, coordinating flights for places you're never going to go? Are you going to do all that stuff? Or are you going to work on or with people that are building something that is exciting? For me, the beginning stages of a company are so exciting. Getting that first dollar. I tweeted this a while ago, but making $29 from a new product, or even our first lead shark buyer at $9 a month, making that gives me more pleasure than closing a $100,000 agency deal. Just because of the newness, right? When it's new, you get that dopamine hit and you feel that excitement. I talked to one of my old mentors. I guess he's still my mentor technically, even though we haven't talked in a while. JT McCormick, who is the CEO of Scribe, which is a ghostwriting agency. And he outlined this path. He said there were 3 types of entrepreneur operators: beginners, middlers, and enders. Beginners are very excited at the prospect of starting a business, getting its first 1,000 customers, getting its first, million a year in revenue. And then they lose steam because they only really enjoy that first part. Then there are middlers who are very good at getting a company from that, let's say, million a year, all the way to the point where it could IPO, or it could go public. And then there are the enders. The enders are the entrepreneurs that are good at operating a public company or operating a major corporation and taking that as far as it needs to go. The continual growth for the shareholders. And I think for me right now, I still get a lot of pleasure from being the beginner, from being that first type of entrepreneur, the type of entrepreneur that loves starting, that loves seeing those first few customers, that loves seeing the product come together. Now, that does not mean I won't eventually evolve into a middler, or if we happen to take a company public in the future, that I couldn't become an operator or an ender. But there's just so much pleasure to be gained by that initial creation process. And I would actually argue that the bigger the corporation is, the more the employee mindset helps versus the entrepreneur mindset. If you're looking at a major corporation like, let's say, Disney. Disney has had so many different CEOs over the years. They've been around 50, 60 years, whatever they've been around. They've had CEO after CEO after CEO. At a certain point, those CEOs are not entrepreneurs. And I would actually even argue after the first one, after Walt Disney stopped being the head of Disney, they stopped being entrepreneurs and they started being more like employees. So if that's your goal, there are major CEOs that are billionaires or multimillionaires. Tim Cook from Apple, the former CEO of Twitter. Anybody that's been the head of a major corporation and then left has gotten massively wealthy. Or you can still win with the employee mindset, but you have to know where you fit in best. And it comes down to exploring your strengths. When you look deep down into your heart, are you somebody who is an entrepreneur? Are you someone who gets that joy, gets that dopamine from playing the business game? When somebody buys your product or gives you $1, even though that dollar won't change your life, do you feel the same joy that you would feel playing a video game? And if not, maybe you're better off being an employee and focusing on the other aspects of life. That's the other thing about the employee mindset. Employee mindset is more about enjoying all the other stuff in life. Like you want to go on vacation for 2 weeks a year and do all this stuff. You want to dream about maybe going to Paris someday instead of just booking the flight and going with no plan. That's the employee mindset. It's very much of a dreamer type of mindset, very much of a I'll do this someday type of mindset, versus the entrepreneur who's a doer, and their business is their life. 90% of my thoughts are about my business. And for an employee, 90% of their thoughts might be about, their family or, Netflix or whatever else they're thinking about. And I'm not saying eventually at some point I'm going to be thinking about my family more. I'm lucky that I don't have kids and that I'm single right now. But that's the difference. Entrepreneurs are obsessed with their business versus employees see business as a means to living a more balanced life. And if you're into balance, then go be into balance. I personally right now am into the game of entrepreneurship. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to smash that like button to encourage this type of content on YouTube. Subscribe down below for more videos like this, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.